I'm Doc.
And I'm Original J. Together, we're Lucky Boy Beard Company.
Buckle up. We're doing beard stuff. Yeah, welcome to Beards, Brews, and Sticks, sponsored by Lucky Boy Beard Company. Once again, we are located in the secret undisclosed location, 1.5 stories below
Your mother's house.
Today we are graced with the presence of one of the best guys I know, Dave from Cigar Republic.
Did I just get kicked down a tier?
Yeah, you're
Fuck.
sucks to be number 2, but we do have a participation trophy.
Oh, good. We're gonna have to find a safe space after this.
So Dave is a OG cigar guy. Cigar Republic in Danbury is my go-to place. Dave has turned me on to so many good cigars that I think I'm financially poorer than I was before I met him. But spiritually, emotionally, and joy-wise, I'm much more enriched.
Any good cigar shop should know how to take your money.
That's right. That's right. The trouble is, my tastes run to $50 cigars, and my wallet runs to $6 cigars. So I have to find that happy medium.
There's always Backwoods or Philly's Blunts or Amex.
All right, so Dave, I hear you brought us some cigars to try from Cigar
I
Republic.
left them out of.
That's
So what I did was, sorry about that.
Oh, look at that!
I brought this is sarcophagus or a copy of the sarcophagus of King Tut. This is from Foundation Cigars from their High Clare Castle line.
Wow.
High Clare Castle is where Lord Carnarvon lived, and 100 years ago or so, he and his crew of archaeologists went and found King Tut
That's
and
right.
his sarcophagus. In honor of that, he initially made the High Clare Castle cigar, where the Lord lived, and then he made this, the Settinger. Settinger was a spice used in the process of the mummification. And when we open it up inside, we have some great Settinger cigars. I brought them for you guys, for Jay, and for Doc.
Fantastic.
Here you go, sir.
Oh, look at these beauties. Oh, what a great logo, too.
It really is. And Settinger actually means, it says it's an ancient Egyptian word for incense or that which makes holy.
Well,
And that is Settinger for you. Right
Beautiful,
there.
man.
And I would like you guys to keep this.
Oh, fantastic.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Some good for the undisclosed location decor.
There you go. That's right. It will look good in our little cigar lounge here. Beautiful.
it goes well with my Foundation
Yes,
Cigars
it does.
shirt and Foundation Cigars hat.
There you go. Well,
I'm fanboying a little bit here today.
why?
So,
Well, besides that, they make great cigars.
They make great
Some
cigars.
of my favorite cigars. Yeah.
so I received a great Christmas gift from my wife.
Mm.
She contacted Nick Melillo, who they ended up growing up and going to school together.
Oh.
They're still in touch. And she reached out to him and said, my husband loves cigars, and here's a couple of photos of his humidor so you can get a feel for what he likes.
Which
Can
you
you-
built from a china cabinet
Yeah.
by hand.
Yeah.
Like you modified it into a multi-stack.
Big,
humidor.
like curio cabinet,
Oh,
8
wow.
shelf or 7 shelf.
Very
like that,
nice.
With I forget the brand, big 1 gallon humidification system in the bottom. LED strip lights through.
Wow.
I took all the glass shelves out, rebuilt, bought some 1.5 inch by 1/4 inch Spanish cedar strips, and built lattice shaped shelves so the air can migrate through. And
Perfect.
oh yeah, beautiful,
It's
beautiful
nice.
cabinet.
Better that way.
Yeah,
In your spare time.
in my spare time. Yeah.
It's one of the
So,
hardest working guys I know.
so she sent him a few pictures with the intention of, and with the statement, so tell me what you make that my husband will like based on, here's some other things he smokes. Well, because they grew up together, he's such a great guy, instead of sending her suggestions, he sent this whole gift package. Coolest guy in the world.
Very
A couple of
cool.
shirts, a cutter, got a new cutter, hat, bunch of stickers, copy of the Cigar Aficionado magazine he was in, autographed a couple months ago, personalized and autographed. and a whole box of the newer Charter Oak Habanos. The torpedoes come in a 50-count box. Sent a whole friggin' box of them over.
That's awful nice.
So I got a bunch of them I brought today. Whether we get to smoking them or not, who knows? But they're here for us.
Perfect.
So yeah, so
And he's also a beardsman.
he is. I sent him some product back in response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice exchange. I hope you enjoyed them.
So Nick, thank you. Very gracious. Definitely appreciated. We thank you for that. Very cool.
And being a friend of Original J, I don't get a T-shirt, but I do get to smoke some of the product provided. So
I've waited 3 weeks to smoke this cigar because I didn't want to do it without you guys.
So this is the cigar we're smoking, then, I guess.
We don't have to. We've got all day.
So,
But I didn't want to do it without you guys anyways.
Thank you.
Yeah.
so for those of you who aren't from Connecticut, there's a story about the Charter Oak, and I don't fully know it, but there's a lot of There's a Charter Oak motorcycle club here. There's a Charter Oak brewery that kills brewing.
Excellent
And by
brewery.
by that I mean they're amazing. And
Scott
I think
and
you guys
Michelle.
do stuff with them.
We do lots of beer garden events with them
Yeah.
in the better weather. Scott is the owner and his wife, Michelle, and they are salt of the earth people, and their brews are second to none.
100%, and I agree. It's a super small brewery,
Yes.
but they have their recipes down. They are making some amazing beers. That's a bike trip. We'll ride out together. Maybe we'll get
Perfect.
I love that.
David to tag along.
So if I recall correctly, and I might be off, but the story of the Charter Oak is, and the tree is still there
It's still there.
in Simsbury. It's
Yeah.
right around the corner from Abigail's, where Sunshine's wedding was.
Right.
Is right across the bridge.
Yep.
And the thing is absolutely massive. But it's the original tree that still goes back. I believe, and I could be wrong, so shout me out in the comments if I fucked up here. But during the Revolutionary War, they used to hide documents in that tree.
Wow.
And that's why it was called the Charter Oak, because I believe they were hiding documents in that tree in order for other people to get them and continue the passage of documents back and forth without getting caught. Yeah, great
So
history.
the Charter Oak is a big piece of history
Connecticut
from the
history.
Revolutionary War.
Yep.
That is still in play. This is a big area for the Revolutionary War. A lot of super important things happen here. So yeah, you
Huge
see
staging area outside Boston and then outside New York, but close to both.
right,
Yeah.
and sometimes the secret undisclosed location is in the area of Danbury.
Mhm.
And Danbury was sacked by the British
Was.
in I think 1778, or
You're
maybe
right.
7, but 78 they sacked Danbury before it became known as Hat City, because and where the term Mad as a Hatter came from, was a big city for the production of hats. Before that, it was basically a depot and a small town, and it was supplying a lot of the material support for the Minutemen and the Revolutionary soldiers. So Danbury hit it, and I got off track, but that's why there's a lot of history here. Was my
A lot.
of history.
A lot.
Yeah, so.
So I guess we're doing the Charter Oak.
It looks like it.
This is exciting. You notice the way they fold the wrapper over the end of the cigar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
That's a whole
light it,
different level of.
when you light it now, because that's part of the wrapper, as you said.
Mhm.
So on your first couple draws, as that burns, you're going to get a strong taste of that Habano wrapper.
Mhm.
And that is kind of the point to that closed foot. So in the beginning, you get a burst of wrapper, and then it'll mellow through, and you'll get the binders and the fillers.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Are there other companies you know that do that? Is that not very common, I'm assuming, because I haven't seen that before.
It's not very common, but it does occur with others. A lot of times it's the boutique companies like Nix's, like Foundation, and a few of the other ones will do it as well. Some even on the foot of the cigar will leave maybe a half inch or so with no wrapper. So that in the beginning, all you're getting is the binder and the filler, and then it changes up again, and you're getting all three.
I have never seen that. Oh, this
Yeah,
is
me neither.
this is a great cigar. So smooth. And like we were talking in previous videos that none of us are like critics or aficionados. You know, we know what we like, and you know, we don't. It's art if you say it's art, but we don't. We don't necessarily know how to speak about them the way a cigar critic would. But I know what I like, and man, this is just brilliant. I
Some
love
people have a more developed palate, and a lot of times that can be what you've been exposed to as far as food and drinks throughout your life.
this.
If you grew up in opulence, you would have all these different things to reference in your palate.
Mhm.
I have a few. I have like bologna hot dogs and mac and cheese. So I've been learning all along.
Some
since
of,
I got it.
some of the most common flavors associated with cigars.
Right. Luckily, I found none of those in any of the foundation cigars.
Yeah, if I get a cigar that tastes like bologna, I'm throwing that one out.
It might not be a
Beans and
cigar.
hot dogs.
I threw my first cigar out the other night,
Okay.
and I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want to down talk. And it's a major player, but I just couldn't do it. Well, I'll say it because it doesn't matter because I'm not going to say anything bad about the company. It just wasn't my taste. I've been wanting to try some of the Deadwood series
Yeah.
for a while.
From Drew Estate.
From Drew Estates. And
Which is a great cigar company.
And correct. And I love a lot of their stuff, but I also love the imagery of the labels on the
Correct.
Deadwood series. So I finally was in a shop the other day, maybe a week ago, and I got a Fat Bottom Betty. It was just so damn sweet.
Going into it, did you know it was an infused cigar?
No,
That
I did not.
Makes it even worse.
I did
That'll
not.
throw you off.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I literally got that far down and I said, for $10, fuck it. I'm not going to suffer through it.
No.
And again, I'm not trying to badmouth. Don't take this wrong,
Just
and
not-
anybody from Drew Estates listening.
Just
It
not
just
what you
wasn't for
expected.
me. Right.
And
It's
it
a
wasn't
great
what-
selling cigar, so clearly it works.
Right.
But I was disappointed in my cigar journey because I was anticipating getting into that series. I was looking forward to it, and I was just disappointed. But I did not know it was infused. But I'm like, man, this is like licking on a sugar cube.
And
I
they're
did.
very sweet and
Yeah.
almost overpowering sweet.
Yes.
You're not getting the tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
But there are palates that's what they prefer.
Sure, I get
Plenty
it.
of
Yeah.
them.
And we had this discussion before that just because we don't like a cigar doesn't mean that it sucks because it's still on the market. People are buying it.
Correct.
It's a successful product, just like anything out there.
Correct. And cigars, wine, spirits,
Yeah.
all based on palate. I may
Correct.
think one thing is terrible, and your palate may
Mhm.
love it. And that's how it works. That's great. And Drew Estate, to give them a nod, their big cigar was the acid, and the acid line, the Cuba Cuba being
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
That was
And that's where Nick started, right?
yes, he
the
was
Drew
a master
Estates.
blender for
Yeah.
that. And was the number one most selling cigar of all time.
Mhm.
Because they figured out that there was a huge part of the public not smoking, but the aromatic odor of that
Mhm.
will entice others in.
Yeah.
I've been at a blues fest where they had a cigar truck selling cigars and they were selling Cuba Cubas,
Mhm.
S's, and people were smoking and people would go by and go, oh my God, what is that? They don't even smoke.
Mhm.
But now
Based
they're
off
trying.
the based off the root note.
Exactly. Exactly.
Interesting.
So that was a smart idea Jonathan Drew had
Mhm.
because he found how to cater to the rest of the public or a bigger portion of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yep. It was just personally disappointing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Well,
Especially
especially
when
because,
expected.
yeah, because you weren't expecting it. You didn't
Well,
know it was infused.
I think more so because I wanted to like it because I liked the imagery on it so much.
Mhm.
I wanted to have them in my case. I
Yeah.
like to look at them. The labels are cool as shit. Kind of that sugar skull look, similar to our logo.
Yeah.
And it was just a disappointment.
Hmm.
No big deal though. Lots of cigars in the sea.
Lots of cigars in the city and different tastes, as our friend Dave said. Hey, so what are we drinking today?
We're going to take a turn sideways.
I hope we're sliding in sideways, saying, "Holy shit, what a ride!"
Yes.
We're going to do some coffee today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
And I found this cool company. I'm going to hold this in front of the camera. Called American Caffeine Company. I believe they're very new, but their imagery, back to the conversation about
American
Deadwood,
traditional.
it's cool traditional American imagery. I thought it was awesome, so I wanted to grab that. and give that a go, because we ride and we travel and we drink a lot of coffee together. So I
Coffee's life.
wanted to go somewhere in a different direction today.
Yeah, wherever we go, motorcycle camping, rallies, whatever, we have to have coffee. And you are always there with this jet boil contraption.
Have you ever
French
seen this
press.
before?
Have not.
Okay, this is a typical like hiking and camping stove made by Jetboil. This is your main pot, and all the components of it fold up and fit inside, including your fuel canister.
Perfect.
These things are cool as shit. But the nice thing is they're ultra lightweight and they travel well. We don't need that. That's a pot stand.
It doesn't take up much room in your saddle bag.
It takes up
Exactly
nothing
right.
but that.
Right.
And it's fully self-contained. And this little cylinder will last a whole season.
Wow,
For
that's
$5,
impressive.
it lasts forever.
But the trick is, so that's how you boil water quick. And it is quick. It'll boil water very quick.
Yeah, we're gonna have coffee in
But-
3 minutes.
But Jay has the French press attachment.
Yeah. So that's the cool.
Very bougie.
Oh yeah.
His little
Listen,
bougie.
I love it. I love
Look,
it.
If we're gonna drink coffee, we're gonna drink coffee.
listen,
Yes,
we'll
we are.
sleep in the dirt, but good coffee is essential.
Dude, good beer and whiskey at night, but then you need good coffee in the morning.
This is true.
So yeah, this is a French press that fits right inside of that Jetboil system. Cool as hell.
Very cool.
Also works for this, since we don't have a kitchen in the secret undisclosed location. So Dave, while he's getting that ready, one of the areas and places we connected on was bikes and cars.
Correct.
And I know, what are you riding now?
I have a 2012 Street Glide.
Nice.
And I'm also lucky enough to have my father's 1991 FXRS
Oh, cool.
that he passed on to me, and I will pass on to my son, and he's a village.
Fantastic. How old's your boy now?
He's a year and 9 months or so.
Nice. I saw a photo of him sitting on the bike with you, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's fascinated with motorcycles.
As almost all little boys are.
I'm gonna move my mic over here so it tries not to pick up too much of that.
There you go.
He walks around the house going, vroom, vroom. And then in his sleep, if I'm watching his monitor, I've seen him in his sleep going, vroom, vroom, like outside with his eyes closed.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's it. That left a mark in a good
Last
way.
night, we watched about a half hour of Harley Davidson drag racing.
Oh, nice. And he was glued to the TV,
He
probably.
takes his little chair, turns it on its side, sits on it, and uses the leg like a handlebar and holds on and watches the drag racing.
That is awesome. Well, also you're a car guy. When we started talking about doing the Rat's Nest run-in and all that, you have a history with those with that style of
Yeah,
cars.
I had a bunch of old, well, not a bunch, two real good ones that I had was a 53 Chevy Bel Air that was chopped and doors welded shut, no roof, with a small block Chevy in it. And like, the smart thing to do is to get a nice big strong engine and then do nothing with the brakes or steering. So that one was called the Blessed Hell Ride. Because it was. And when I had that car in the beginning, I would go over to a local car cruise night sometimes, and I stood out like a sore thumb. And I met a guy, two guys actually, Mark and Chris, that throw the Rust Riot every year.
Right.
And that is some car show, and it goes hand in hand with all the things you guys do as well.
Yeah, we're going to definitely attend.
We've been accepted well into the car world. Our
Yeah.
branding and the people, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Have you ever gone up to the Blackthorn for the Rat's Nest?
I have not been to the rest. I've never owned a car that would go that far without breaking.
Well, we went with without a car, but there were at
We went
least-
as a vendor.
We went as a
Yeah.
vendor, yeah. There was at least 200 rat rods there. It was like a candy store.
Yeah.
And actually, we went there. We sponsored the pinup contest, and we went there and we sponsored a beard contest. And those guys
Now,
were
the pinups didn't have the beards. Please tell me.
no, the pinups
No.
didn't have the beards.
But we don't judge.
Why would you?
If they do, they do.
As long as they use Lucky Boy.
The pinups didn't have the beards, but we recruited them to judge the beard contest. Now, they had never done
Yeah,
a beard
first,
contest.
second, and third place winners became the judges for the beard.
Right,
contest. Oh, that's
and they
great.
were just
Yeah.
they were just amazing at it. But it's the moment of truth, and Original Jay and I are like, gosh, I hope somebody comes up with a beard to be in the contest, because they had dropped the hula hoop contest because nobody really stayed up for that.
3 minutes, 3 cups. It was a full rolling boil already.
Wow.
That's an amazing little stove.
So we went up there with a game plan, like, oh, we're just going to give away stuff if nobody comes up.
Oh, yeah.
16 guys came up,
Good show.
and they were all they'd swung by our tent and looked at our product, or many of them had bought our product, and but the pinup girls were just fantastic. They put on a good show. They made it. They're just good at that. And then they unanimously picked this bearded brother with a big red beard.
And this guy didn't want to be in the contest, remember?
We
recruited him like 30 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
He was
And-
just walking
And
around.
he was the winner. And the prize winner was a full set of Lucky Boy beard care products.
That's a great prize.
16 people showed up. And we're walking around and we hear people saying, oh, those are the beard guys. So, like, yeah, we're going back every year. And the sponsors of the whole show were just, as car guys are, it's just amazing community of people.
Very much
And
so.
they were just like, look, whatever we can do to support you. And we're like, you tell us how we can support you. We want to make this great. It was good. We're right up by the stage. And then the Grenadiers, great
Band.
great band, New England sort of punk band, who my son had an interaction with 2 years earlier. They actually, some of our fans wanted to get him up on stage as a guitar player. They brought him up on stage to do Ace of Spades, Motorhead Ace of Spades, two times.
Mhm.
And he got up there and killed it. We didn't get the video of it, unfortunately. We tried to live stream it, but there wasn't enough connection.
We got the video the second day.
The second day.
Because remember that Saturday night when they played, Dylan was on stage. We hadn't figured out how the mic thing worked, and we lost the audio.
Yep.
So the next day, which was like 11 o'clock on Sunday during pack up when they played and he went up again, we got it that time.
Yep.
So I do have a full video version with audio.
Yeah.
And actually, Nick from the Grenadiers reached out to me a week or two after that and asked if I could send it to him.
Yeah. What a great bunch of guys.
Great people.
Taking a young kid at that time in the beginning, he had just started learning how to play, and he went upstate backstage to meet him after his set, and he took time to talk with them and inspire him, talk to him about music. And two years later, they call him up on stage, and he's doing the lead for Ace of Spades.
That's great.
But what probably was even cooler for him is they took him back to their hotel room during the day on Saturday, and they spent a couple hours together just jamming and practicing together.
Oh, that's great.
Just to kind of get the feel for each other.
Sure.
And I'll bet you, now I'm not a musician, but I'll bet you that was probably cooler for Dylan.
That left a mark. That's the kind of thing.
That's the kind of people.
That's the kind of community you want shaping your kids.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And yeah, he had a great time, and we worked him. And we worked him like he was our roadie. Never complained once. Threw him some cash at the end, which he wasn't expecting. It's good. Good 3-4 days that I'm looking forward to doing again.
Yeah. Another minute or so, and we'll press it and we'll pour it.
So that's been a topic periodically with us, talking about how we inspire our children to be good citizens, although not obedient citizens necessarily. We don't want our children to flaunt authority, but we don't want them necessarily to be lockstep with the sheeple.
Obedience is rewarded by tyranny.
Right.
Yes.
We want our kids to be self-sufficient. We want them.
Copyright 2024, Ricky Bobby Industries. All rights reserved.
Yeah, we want them to be able to, like Dylan's wrenched on my bike. He knows how to handle a wrench now. Like most kids his age and his cohort, they wouldn't have an idea where the dipstick is on a car or
Mhm.
how to do a 3-hole fluid change on a Harley Davidson. But
The
he
dipstick
does.
is the kid that doesn't know how to find the
That's
dipstick.
That's right. That's right.
Right, through no fault of his own. It's just because nobody ever bothered to say, look, there's some things you can do yourself. There's lessons in this.
Correct.
And the reward at the end is not that you get a participation trophy. The reward at the end is, you turn over the bike or you turn over the car and it works.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't. And there's a lesson there too.
Mhm.
That's still a win.
And then you go back and retrace your steps and figure out what you missed or where you made the mistake.
Constant refrain from my youngest son is fail forward. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
No, you learn from them.
You learn from them.
And a lot of people sometimes have the mindset that, I made a mistake, this is over.
Yeah.
But that's not the truth. Is you made the mistake, you learn from it, and like you said, you fail forward. You start over, you move on, and you keep going.
Yeah, that's a lesson often has to be relearned at various ages. Like I'm currently relearning that lesson right now.
Fair
It's
enough.
like, yes, sometimes stuff doesn't work out.
Yes.
You can cry about it or you can, put on your big boy pants and soldier on. And just a heads up
Thank
warning,
you,
this
Jay.
will be scalding hot for
Yes.
a few minutes, as you can see from the steam coming off it. So, so you're a big coffee guy.
I love coffee.
What's your normal coffee routine?
The funny part of my coffee routine is that it is a local place that I go to in the morning called Bagel Man.
Oh yeah,
And I just love their coffee.
their pot brewed coffee is
Yeah.
just right in my profile.
Yeah, it's
Totally
great.
love it.
It's really good.
Plus great bagels.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And those aren't always easy to find. A great bagel.
Nope. Everybody thinks they can make a bagel. Not everybody can. Now, you may have a difference of opinion about Bagel Man because you like the traditional style of bagel making. I'm not sure if theirs is traditional, but
Boiled.
that's the style I like.
An old school boiled bagel, which gives you a nice crust, but a nice chewy inside. My opinion is if it's not at least steamed and then baked or boiled and then baked, if it's just baked, it's just round bread.
I don't disagree.
Just
And
round
the
bread.
texture and everything is entirely two different animals
Mhm.
that way.
Yeah, so I generally like a deeper, richer roast.
This is their French roast. They only have two non-flavored blends, the Colombian and the French roast. And I bought it whole bean and I just ground it last night. So the grind is fresh.
And there's a big difference between percolated or K-cupped or
Mhm.
French pressed. It's a whole different coffee profile.
Mhm.
And I like it. I don't use a French press at home, so it's not my most. Usually I just use K-cups, but I use. God, this is going to sound so
Bougie.
bougie, but there's a Trader Joe's near me. And they make this Colombian coffee, and it's really good. It's
Do they
right
let
in
you in there without Crocs?
They do, but you have to
Yes, but you have to be wearing socks with sandals.
Or if you hold the basket low enough or make eye contact, nobody actually looks down. So you can slip. You can't slip in. But for God's sakes, bring your own bags.
Deodorant optional.
No, actually, this is one of the few places that make a thick paper bag with handles on it that you can actually carry groceries in without it ripping as you're getting out of the car.
This is good. Thank you so much.
Oh, that is scalding hot, but that is good.
Yeah, I like these guys. I want to try more of
Nice
their-
full-bodied coffee without being bitter.
without being bitter.
Or
Exactly.
acidic.
And you made it strong, like I like. It's funny, we all drink our coffee black. And one of my favorite lines, what you say dark, what you say
Black like my soul.
So we're at, there's one of our favorite little old school diners in Brewster, New York called Bob's. It's actually Sprague's now.
They changed names?
Well, that was the original name. So when he took,
Jimmy Sprague was the original owner.
that's right. And Thomas is, you know,
Son, right? Is he a son or?
I think I think he's grandson,
Okay.
or maybe through uncle.
I think
or
you're
something
right. I
like
think
that.
you're right with that.
But when they renovated, they pulled down some signage, and behind it in tiles it says Sprague's, and so he's going back to that. But anyway, when he's on the grill, he's an amazing guy on the grill, and they make just breakfast foods there are just a cut above. So I was there with my daughter for breakfast, my youngest daughter for breakfast. She was home from college. And, you know, when I got out, I actually dumped a bunch of quarters because it was weekday, so you had to feed the meters. I dumped a bunch of quarters. And then when we sat down, I ordered coffee, and they were like cream or milk. And I'm like, I like it dark and bitter like my soul. And she guffawed, and she said, you just put quarters in the meters. Your soul is not dark and bitter.
You're the meter fairy for crying out loud.
You're like, yeah, okay. All right, you got me there. You got me there. But hey. So there's two times for me where a good cigar is made a little better, and that's for me with a good whiskey or scotch, or with a nice, rich, full body of coffee. I won't say I won't smoke a cigar without those two things, because I do all the time. However, it's, you know, it takes it up a level.
And I think this coffee pairs very well with cigars.
Yeah, it's, you know, it can't be a wimpy, thin coffee to go with this cigar. That's for sure.
Nothing that Nick does is wimpy or thin. All his stuff is full of flavor. Even his lightest blends. Even if you're a more of a full body smoker, even his lightest cigar can satisfy a full body person because of all the flavor and notes that are in the cigar. All that stuff.
Well, to that point, interestingly, Jay smoked cigars a long time ago, and he has a great story about his first cigar experience, which I don't know if you've told or not, but when we started smoking cigars together, he was smoking lighter Olivas, and you know, I'm in the darker, you know what I like.
Palette, yeah.
Yeah, it was Connecticut Shade,
Yeah,
primarily wrappers, and Oliva G would be about the heaviest profile I would smoke. But yeah, I'm certainly migrating beyond that quickly.
Your palate, over time, it grows. It really does.
it becomes more complex. And,
Yeah.
I like to say you're.
But I think I was smoking those because, to my cigar journey story, I was chasing something, and that's where I thought I had to be to find what I was looking for.
Well, you may have told that story in previous videos, but why don't you tell it again?
So for years, when I was younger, my parents had a timeshare in St. Martin. So we'd go down there twice a year. And this is through my early teens.
First place I got hung up by gunpoint. Oh, no, that was St. Thomas.
U.S. Virgin Islands, of course. Yeah. So there's no drinking age and there's no smoking age in St. Martin. And my brother and I would always sneak off. And so in the downtown, because the southern half of the island is owned by the Netherlands, Heineken is a domestic beer.
Okay.
So we would always sneak downtown, and there was hot dog carts everywhere. And for $1 which is $1, bucket a quarter plus or minus, you'd get a Heineken bottle and a hot dog on these beautiful French rolls that were made on the French side of the island in Marigot. Beautiful French bakeries over there. So you'd get this like awesome, thick, big hot dog on this beautiful French roll bun and a Heineken for $1.
Wow.
So my brother and I, we'd be downtown all day long drinking Heinies and eating hot dogs. But I'd always sneak off, and I'd buy a pack of cigarettes without my parents knowing, or I'd buy some cigars and sneak into the casino underage because I always had a beard. I always looked older. So I'd sneak into the casino at 16, and I'm sitting there smoking a cigar and drinking beer and playing blackjack. But
That's great.
there was a cigar that I always bought, and I don't, to this day, remember what it was. But my journey is, because to me, I can smell that cigar today still. And that brings back that whole memory of all those trips, 20 trips to St. Martin. And I've been chasing in the last few years, trying to find that cigar again, or trying to find the same flavor again.
Right.
And I can't quite find it. Now I remember it was in a white metal tube. So I'm thinking like a Monte Cristo.
Maybe some Romeo.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was one of those major players.
Right.
And the closest thing I've gotten is a Hampton Court. Comes in a white metal tube, similar, but it just doesn't bring me back there. But it kind of starts to invoke those memories. So my search in the cigar world, my journey has always been trying to find that memory again, trying to find that. And that's probably why I've grown so, through the Connecticut shade wrappers, because I'm 99% certain it was a very light-skinned, light-wrappered cigar.
Right.
So I probably favored Connecticut shade because it's making me think that that's probably what that cigar had. And that's why I gravitated towards that. But yeah, my journey is trying to find that memory again.
I wonder too if back in that era, if it was probably more likely a Dominican cigar.
Could have been Cuban because we were out of the country. It could have been. And you have a lot of American tourism, right? So Cubans in those islands are a novelty.
Yes, they are.
So it could have very well been something that I'm just never going to find, but that's been the search. So to me, it's a constant journey, and I'm always trying to find that flavor and that aroma again,
Right.
just to kind of re-feel that,
That moment.
relive that. Yeah,
Those good memories.
yeah.
Being a kid on the island.
St. Martin was a great place to visit as a kid. You
Spent
get
a lot-
away with anything.
I spent a lot of time in the Caribbean.
Yep.
It's good times. Even getting held up was kind of a joke. But I was stupider back then, so the the danger I was in was less real to me. So yeah, isn't it interesting that I think you get to a certain age and I think everybody's susceptible to the glory day phenomena. There's a certain kind of girl, because that certain kind of girl reminds you of the first time you fell in love or the first time you were intimate or whatever, that first kiss, the cigar, the first car.
Mhm.
I was showing my son, the first car I ever had was a 62 Ford Fairlane. It was used and beat up, and it wasn't like I showed him like a
Her or the car?
62 Ford Fairlane. And I've shown him restored pictures, and he's like, wow, that's amazing. I'm like, it didn't really look like, and it was a work car for me too. So like sometimes there'd be a wheelbarrow tied to the roof. It was not sexy, but in my mind, it was the beautiful lines of that early Ford Fairlane, which was just a cool looking car. I talk with my son a lot about that. He's like, when did they stop making sexy cars? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, why did they get rid of the lines and
They got rid of the sexy cars when China became cheaper to produce everything for us.
Right. The art behind the design went away, and they replaced it with the speed they could
With
make
economy.
With economy, exactly. That's what they could pump out more faster.
Just like anything, follow the dollar.
That's right. You look at buildings now compared to buildings 100 years ago. They took time to create art on the buildings just to make it. They didn't need to. It could just be bricks.
Right. It was every corner, every angle was all architecture,
Mhm.
all worth looking at. Now it's not like that. It's like everything's prefabbed.
Mhm.
It comes on a truck. They slap it together, and it's hard to find buildings with like character anymore. Or even like some of the older stuff, it has like a soul to it.
Mhm.
You can see it in the artwork.
Like these walls.
Exactly.
These walls have a feel to them.
All handmade.
Mhm.
Every person that was in here building this was doing it as a passion,
Mhm.
which is different nowadays with a lot of the mass-produced stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, your work was your art back then.
But you couldn't afford to replicate that today because your building would cost you twice as much.
Exactly.
And your rent cost you twice as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Well, here we're in Danbury, just the main street of Danbury. Some of the architecture on the main street of Danbury is just mind blowing.
It really is.
And I think-
Sometimes we're here in Danbury.
well, I'm saying the company is based in Denver. And sometimes the secret undisclosed location does manifest in the city of Danbury.
It's slightly being disclosed here,
Um,
Robert.
you can put a pin in the map on Danbury, and that's as close as you'll be.
You did say here on Main Street in Danbury.
Well, no, I said on Main Street, there's
Oh.
beautiful architecture.
I misheard. Edit.
As long as the feds don't find out, we'll be fine.
They'll never
Long as
find us directly under the IRS accounting office.
That's right.
We're
That's
hiding
right.
in plain sight.
That's the last place the federales are gonna look. All right, well, good coffee, good cigars.
Excellent. Great company. Thank you guys.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say, I'd been coming into the cigar shop for a while, and we've talked about this too as a running theme. It's like businesses should support other businesses. And I remember coming in and saying, hey, I want you to try something. This is something I'm developing. I'm working on these formulas. Will you give it a try? You got a beard. Will you give it a try? And let me know. And we talked like so many beardsmen. You weren't a guy that was using product on your beard.
No.
And your beard looked good. Like it's not like it was suffering. But you tried the product and you liked it. You were one of our first customers. One of our first reviews. Did a great video review for us on the product. But do you want to talk a little bit about that first use of product and how that worked for you and what your wife thought about it?
Absolutely. It changed my perspective on what your beard could be or how it could be. Because coming up and everything, bikes, cars, all that, it was just, guys had beards and I remember my father, always, he's a biker guy with a big beard. And I can remember him one day yelling at me after he came home for something I deserved, I'm sure, but a bug flying out of his beard that he caught on the ride home. And that was a beard, but you can give it its own style to your own personality. And your stuff really helps that. And it keeps it more comfortable on your face. The beard oils and things like that, it prevents like the dandruff or that itchiness.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you first introduced me to stuff, my beard, not that I have a baby beard compared to you guys, but it was even shorter then. And it was still at times uncomfortable and dry and you'd want to scratch. And once I started using the beard oil and that was before it was just black bottles. They didn't even have letters, numbers, names, nothing out.
It was just, there were numbers. It was like
that's
one,
what it was,
two,
yeah.
three.
Yeah, and you just laid them out, and we started with scents, and the scent I liked the most was the one I put on first. That actually is the Lucky 13
Yep.
that I still use today.
Yep.
And almost immediately, it was a different experience. No more itch, no more dandruff, and it made the beard comfortable to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a habit, as a lot of beard guys do, I'm doing this
All day
all
long.
day long. And
Me too.
by doing this, my hand isn't greasy.
Mhm.
My beard doesn't then get dried out because I'm pulling it out. It lasts me all day long and probably 1,000 repetitions of pulling out my beard, which I can't stop. I think I need a psychiatrist.
I don't
Oh,
know.
my wife, as a nurse, hates it because she said, your hands are on your mouth all day
Yes,
long.
all day.
That's all I'm doing. And then I feel like I'm pulling it in, so then I go this way and have to flatten it. It's all day long. I'm with you. Yep. Well, when you have a glorious beard, you have to just show it off. That's what we're doing.
Why would you?
Right. It's like a woman getting out of the water and going with her hair.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing with our hair.
Exactly.
We're showing it off.
Our friend Razor Hater on Instagram, who's a supporter of the company, he does a funny little meme. It's like it's repeated throughout Instagram, but there's 3 guys with beards on, and he's in his field, and he does a little whistle, and as soon as he does it, everybody goes because it's like the signal. It's like a Pavlovian response.
Yes.
You know.
And
But-
my wife loves it too. She loves that scent, and she loves that when I kiss her, which I do as frequently as possible.
As one should.
It's not scratchy.
Right.
And another thing that I really enjoy is your Triple F beard lube.
Mm-hmm.
When I first noticed what a difference it makes, is when I ride.
Mhm.
Because as you know, if you have a bike with a fairing, the wind comes up
Yes.
and it blows your beard up. And by the time you're done, it's all over. And so you'd have your beard comb, whip it out, and it would be knotty and painful to comb through. But the beard lube, done. And it's right back to where you wanted it to be,
Mhm.
back to being comfortable and everything else.
Well, that's the thing. So the lube is a hydrator. It's really meant to just super hydrate your beard. And when you're doing stuff like we do, like Jay working on a forklift, or the various hardworking stuff that he does, or us out on the bikes, and unless like sometimes I'll wear a buff just to keep it under control, because otherwise it flips up and beats my eyes. But because again, I have a fairy too, but because I want to look cool, it's got a really short windshield. If I brought the windshield up, it'd be hitting about up here and it would be fine, but that's not cool. So
It's about cool. It's not about comfort.
it's not about comfort. Yeah, I'd be driving a car if I was worried about
Exactly
comfort.
that.
But here's the thing. That wind crossing the surface of your beard, that is pulling all the moisture out of your skin and your hair.
Wind is drying.
Wind is
Yeah.
drying, and the lube is really great for that. So that's a go-to after a day of riding for me for sure. Is the Triple F goes right in.
And I'm going to touch on Triple F beard lube, which I've done multiple times with you. I use that as hand cream.
When I'm done with it, I don't wipe it on the hand towel.
Mhm.
I go on my forearms, my
Elbows and
elbows,
knuckles. Yeah.
my tips of my fingers that dry out real easy, especially in the winter weather. And it's like a lotion all day long. Keeps you hydrated everywhere.
Let me give
converted
you.
so many people to our beard lube as a hand moisturizer instead of the chemically infused garbage that you buy in the market,
Exactly that.
which artificially gives you a sense of hydration, but it's really just destroying your skin because it's garbage. It's all acids and carcinogens, as we're going to find out in a future episode when we break down one of the popular products.
Sure.
Popular hand lotion, I won't say the name, comes in a green tub.
You
You
recognize
might
it?
recognize it if you've seen it. There are 3 ingredients that are carcinogens. One is used in pesticides, and it's being sold to be put all over your skin.
And then you're absorbing it.
You're sucking it in through your skin. Yeah,
Ugh.
beautiful stuff.
So the commercial chemical-based moisturizers are really chemically engineered to be hydrophilic and hydrophilic. That is to say that it's trapping the moisture.
Hydrophilic or hydrophobic? It's hydrophobic, not hydrophilic.
Phallic means something entirely different.
No,
But you can use it there too.
Hydrophilic and hydrophobic. One attracts moisture, one repels moisture.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so
Hydrophilic does a whole different
So it's
thing.
like this double barrier. It's preventing entrance and preventing exit of
Mhm.
moisture. So the carrier oils in our product have that the natural ability to do it. It's not engineered chemistry, but at the same time, it's actually nutritious. So they do that.
Mhm.
That's their base, and then they add things like vitamin E oil, and that's all in our product. That is our product
Mhm.
naturally. But my suggestion to you is don't let onto your wife that this works great for hands and rub spots,
Yes.
unless you want to start tripling up your orders, because
That's why
she's
we
gonna
want him to
start-
tell her.
It's all about doing the business.
It's all about the business. Yeah, we're getting a lot of crossover. I don't know if it's appropriate to say the line of work your wife is in.
Yep, the nursing industry. I have access to a lot of nurses because my wife's an RN. These women and men, they're hand sanitizer 100 times a day, and a lot of those are alcohol based, right? So it just beats their hands up.
Just beats
So
it up.
I have a few nurses that I've given this product to, and they are infatuated with it. They love it because it just works so well.
And a little bit goes a long way.
It does because it doesn't have all the filler.
Okay.
So I go in that tin and I get about half the size of my thumbnail that I scrape off, and that does my whole hands. And 3 or 4 times a day, that's all you need. That tin will last a month.
Okay.
So it goes a
if you
long
use it
way.
just for that too. I find in my beard how long it lasts as
Mhm.
well.
Yep.
Which also goes to show that you guys are more worried about the quality of your product
Mhm.
than the how often I need to reorder.
Right.
The quality of it is there, and then it's not like everything today is kind of built to be thrown out
Yep.
and then replaced.
Right.
Where this isn't that way at all.
Mhm.
It's quality, it lasts, and the frequency of maybe repurchasing might be less. But once you use it, you're a customer
Mhm.
because you know, A, that it's way better for you
Mhm.
because it doesn't have all the terrible ingredients, and that it's going to last longer and actually deliver what it says.
Right.
You know, it's not just lip service in a fancy commercial.
Mhm.
It's actually doing what it says.
Right. Yeah, even our soaps. I mean, you can, I was a guy that would use body wash because it's easy. Squirt some body wash onto your washcloth, rub it together, and there you go. But that bottle is all filler. It's
All filler.
It's all junk. The bar soap accomplishes the same thing, but again, like our oils and like our balms, 100% of what's in there is good for your skin, your hair, and your beard. 100% of it.
Just like the oils and balms, the soaps are 100% essential oil scented. So there is no synthetic fragrances or perfumes or anything.
And meanwhile, hair wash and hair conditioner, these are designated by the FDA as detergents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. But our soaps, completely different situation. And that was really the foundation of the start of the whole company. It's like, I've had facial hair most of my adult life. During COVID, like a lot of people, I pushed out my beard because I didn't, I wasn't moving in corporate circles, and I had moved more on the scale towards Zulu Foxtrot, and so I pushed out my beard farther to where I wanted it, rather than how it looked if I was going to talk to somebody in a corporate office about something. So, or my patients as an acupuncturist, how they would worried about how they would perceive me.
And now, from a business perspective, you should have a big beard.
That's right. It's almost a requirement. Right?
It's
a
180.
requirement. So, but the point is that I started using stuff. I was grabbing stuff off CVS shelves, and then I was ordering stuff from some of the big names.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm a label reader, so I'd be looking at that. I'm like, I mean, this may smell okay, but the fragrance are artificial. Like, why? And I have a background in essential oils and carrier oils. I'm like, I can make good smelling stuff that's actually natural. It's interesting now. We're starting to see some of these companies push certain SKUs as all natural. I'm like, well, what about all your other stuff?
Mhm.
Right.
What were you doing before this?
Exactly.
So
And it's funny though, and I pointed a couple of these situations out to you, the terminology that's used on some of the labels today. And I forget exactly what the last one was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Something to the effect of 100% naturally derived ingredients.
right.
That sounds good, right? Sounds wonderful, 100% naturally derived, but they're all chemically modified. So your net result is something that is lab created. It's not natural. It's derived natural.
Right.
Everything that's created in a lab is derived from some sort of natural source,
Right.
but that doesn't mean you're getting a natural product.
No, you get something modified.
But it sounds good.
Chemically.
It's almost, I don't want to say it's false advertising, but it's bordering on, in my mind, false advertising. You're manipulating the consumer by making them think they're getting something by the words that they're using on the labels.
Right.
And let's face it, a lot of guys that are like in our circle or in our group or like to do the things that we like to do.
It's going to parallel back to his beginning story.
Yeah, they're not necessarily thinking about what's in the product or even using the product
Or
at
even
all,
using product, right?
right?
Right.
Guys, like you said, like you think back to your father. We're just car guys and bike guys that have beards. We don't
Right.
think about using grooming products.
Right. If he had oil in his beard because he was
Motor
fixing
oil.
his
Right.
bike or his car, that's what broke him down again. Yeah.
Just a quick thing. When we go to do these events, and we've ended these events, which we do more for fun and content than for trying to sell our product. Although, we do that. That's a great bonus. We do this thing where we have samplers, and we have a mirror, and we're like, "Oh, check your beard now." and then put some of this in, and we have these throwaway codes we give them, and they comb them out, and it's like a magic trick to me. Even me, the guy that designed these things and have been using them, to watch the beard just go and just puff out and fill out.
Flatten out, fill out,
Yeah.
shine up. Yep.
Yeah, it's
But the other part of it is back to this whole discussion about us using products, guys using care products.
Right.
Half or better of the groups of people, the couples that come into the booth, are driven by the woman.
it's true.
She says, oh, what's that? Oh, you got to come try this. Come here. Because they're the ones that use, health and beauty care products, generally speaking. And it's the women that drive the men into the booth because they're like, oh, you can use that. You should try this. And then we go to the mirror and we start a guy out, and it's just like that transformation instantaneously. It's the women love it.
Exactly. And usually the guys are, they'll like what they like, but 9 times out of 10, they're getting the fragrance that their girl
That
likes.
the girl picks, right?
Because
She tries the samplers and says that's the one you're getting. Yeah, because she's got to be happy with it, right? If she doesn't like the way your beard smells, you're not going to be kissing as often as you like.
Right. Happy wife,
Yep.
happy life.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap up here, but I notice there's something big between your legs there. Dave.
Well,
Family show.
I'm Irish, so I know you're not talking about my phallic. But so what I brought for you guys
Oh, look at
is
that.
a nice big Herf style ashtray.
Beauty.
So when you do go out and have your events, you can place this there too. When you're smoking your cigars, other cigar
That's cool as
smokers
shit.
would have a place to rest their cigars while they're trying on your products.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And any events that you're doing, this will hold a ton of cigars and cigar ash.
That's right. And you don't have to worry about overflow because,
No. And at the end of the night, a lot of times you'll have small ashtrays,
Mhm.
like tables or wherever you're at. They can empty into here.
But you
So
dump
all your hot ones are in here, and you don't have to worry about a fire
Mhm.
when you dump
That's
it wherever
beautiful.
you dump it.
Fantastic.
And this is from me to you guys. I hope you use it in
Oh,
good health.
Thank you
Thanks.
so
Thank
much,
you.
man. That is wonderful.
Not only do you bring us cigars, but you bring us this amazing giant ashtray, and it can live here in the secret undisclosed location. At times, there are 10, 15 guys in here.
Mhm.
We have a bunch of small cigar ashtrays, including some Oliva ashtrays, which you also gifted to the secret undisclosed location. So this will be great. It can until we take it on the road, it can live right
That
here.
is like intended to be on a pedestal like that.
yeah,
That just
it's
that's a
perfect. It's perfect
grand
for it.
statement.
And don't be
Beautiful, man.
afraid to decorate it with some of those Lucky Boy stickers.
All the way around. Yeah, beautiful, man. Thanks so much. I
Oh, thank you
appreciate
guys for having me. It's an honor.
it. Yeah, thanks again.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for bringing the cigars. This
Thank
is
you, Jay.
great
Thank
guest.
you for the
Yes,
coffee.
thank you
This
so
stuff
this
was
is
great.
amazing. Yeah, it is good coffee.
Thank you, Nick Malillo, for making these great cigars for us.
Great guy. I mean, this is a great stick. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
So we're gonna definitely tag Nick, but we're also gonna tag the The
American Caffeine.
American-
Caffeine with a K.
Caffeine with the K.
I believe they're out of New Jersey.
Yeah,
So they're semi-local.
yeah, super good product. And
Yep, New
the
Jersey.
owner of that company is an old school beardsman.
Yeah, my understanding is that he has a history in the beard world. So we might we'll reach out to you. Maybe there's something that'll work good for both of us in this going forward. But thank you for making great coffee. We enjoyed that tonight.
And
Right.
part of our ongoing effort to make sure we support other small businesses, we'll tag this guy, Cigar Republic, the finest cigar lounge in
Thank you.
Are there
the entire
locations
area.
other than Danbury?
There are. We have Elmsford, New York,
Mhm.
and Conshohocken, Pennsylvania.
Conshohocken, Pennsylvania.
If you're not familiar with that name,
Conshohocken.
it's 20 minutes outside city center Philly.
Gotcha.
That's
West of Philly.
That's
west of Philly. Yeah.
And the New York one is,
in Elmsford, New York,
Which is where?
Near White Plains, New York.
gotcha, so up the throughway.
From
Oh, White Plains, west of Danbury. White Plains.
684,
Correct.
287.
Down 684, yes,
Yes,
got it.
exactly exactly that.
Little local knowledge there.
Heading towards the Tappan Zee.
But if you're in the Danbury area, the New York area, or the Conshohocken, Pennsylvania
Bless you.
area, stop into Cigar Republic.
Yeah.
These guys are great. I don't know the guys from the other locations. I bet you they're almost as cool as Dave.
Almost.
Oh, like 60% as cool as Dave. But knowledge is everything. And no matter how much you know about anything, there's somebody that knows more, and those are the guys you want to hang out with. You don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. Today, the smartest guy in the room is Dave.
And I don't want to be that guy.
Well, you're the honorary smartest guy.
Thank you so much. First time for everything.
All right, so thanks for joining us. I don't know how long this went, but if you're still here, it's because you're awesome. Check us out on luckyboyco.com. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and
Share with your friends.
yeah, and tickle the like button.
Tickle
with your pinky
the like button.
finger.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
Cheers,
Cool.
fellas.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Slancha.
Slancha.
That is good coffee.
It really is.